How's it going, everyone? I'm back again. We've got a beautiful spring day here in Minnesota. It's late April right now. It's not super warm out here today, but it's nice and calm, which is uncommon for this time of year. Usually when the seasons are changing up here, it's super windy just about every day. So we're going to take advantage of the nice calm weather today, head out there in the kayak, and see if we can find some crappie. And off we go. I might actually take my paddle apart and use it to ski pole through this little shallow path here. It's not quite wide enough in here to get a good paddle stroke with my paddle in one piece. So we'll ski pole our way through there. All right. What a beautiful day out here. I've been scanning the shallows a little bit as I paddle along here. I haven't seen much yet. One little bass at the point leading out of that bay that I launched in. But I am working my way up to another bay up here. This one gets a little bit deeper. This one gets to 12 to 15 feet out in the middle. And it's typically the first place that I'll find active panfish on this lake in the springtime. That bay warms up a little bit faster than the main part of the lake out here, so a lot of those crappie and bluegill will go into there. I'll give you guys a quick look at the setup I'm using out here today. This is actually the exact same setup I had last time I was out fishing crappies. I've got a 5'9" medium power extra fast action St. Croix Legend Tournament walleye rod. I really like this rod for panfish. It's not like a wet noodle like a lot of those panfish rods, and it's actually about perfect for those 12 to 14 inch crappie. And I've got an Abu Garcia Revo MGX 20 reel, 6-pound Trilene XL mono line, and I'm running a simple slip bobber setup today. I've got maybe 1.5 foot of line out underneath that bobber tie. And I'm using a little tiny tungsten ice fishing jig. This is a VMC Mongo Jig. And I've got one of these Nico waxworms rigged up on there. I absolutely love this setup for panfish. These Nico waxworms are pretty much indestructible, so I should be able to fish that one all day long. I really like these little tungsten ice jigs too. It's a higher weight density than lead, so I can fire a cast out pretty far and accurately with that setup. A lot of times with those smaller panfish sized lead jigs, I'll have to add a little split shot, maybe 6 to 8 inches up the line, and that just causes headaches. It causes it to spin around and tangle up on the bobber while I'm casting it, and it's tough to tell if your jig is sitting on the bottom when you're running that extra split shot sometimes too, so I don't need that extra weight with the tungsten ice jig. It's heavy enough, pulls that line through the bobber nice and quick. And the most important thing is the crappie love it. Let's go see if we can find a few. All right, I've made my way into this bay here. Right now I'm just kind of fishing my way along the edge of the shallow weeds here. Seeing if I can pick up anything shallow. I don't know, that water's still kind of cold though, so I don't know if we'll have a whole lot of luck up here today. Sometimes you kind of just gotta work your way along though, and you'll find the school of fish eventually, so I'll probably spend the first 45 minutes to an hour doing that. There are a couple deep holes out here too. There's one right up here, and then another one over here. So if they aren't shallow, I'll probably fish my way into one of those deeper holes. It's usually about the way it goes though, whether I'm fishing crappie or bass or pike or whatever. I'll generally spend that first hour just kind of getting a feel for whatever lake or river I'm fishing that day. Try to figure those fish out. There's one. What do we got here? A little fighter, whatever he is. He's trying to get me down into those weeds. Looks like a little largemouth. Hey there, buddy. Well, look at that. We're on the board. We'll get him back in the water quick. Gotcha. Little bluegill. Yeah, that one's actually not too bad. Well, I have been fishing my way about halfway around this bay, working some shallow water. I figured I'd come out here a little bit deeper and give it a try. Well, I can see just about everything below me pretty clearly in 5 feet of water or less, and I haven't seen any crappie swimming around in that shallow of water yet out here today. So I'm assuming they're going to be out a little bit deeper than that. I don't know, that sun's peeking through the clouds though. Looks like we might have some blue sky for a little bit at least. Maybe that'll get those crappie moving up shallow. Okay, so we're going to throw that out into, I don't know, 8 to 10 feet of water. So I'm going to pull my bobber stop up, give it a few feet. That should be good. Let her sit right there. The wind should kind of blow it back this way, so we'll be able to cover a little bit of water with that bobber rig. Here we go. What do we got here? Is that a crappie? It is a crappie. Just a little one, but hey, I'll take it. So I did move out here a little bit deeper. I'm sitting in about 10 feet of water right now. I just haven't really been seeing much up shallow today, so I'm throwing that bobber up here to about, I don't know, maybe 8 feet of water, kind of right along the edge of the deeper weeds out here. We'll see if that little guy's got any buddies. Oh, there's something else chewing on it. Got him. This one feels a little nicer. Is it a crappie? Oh yeah, it is. Hey, they're getting bigger. There's another one on that little Nico waxworm. Yeah, I think once you find them, as long as you get that down in front of them, they're going to have a hard time saying no. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a nice crappie. Come on up here. I think I figured them out. They're out in a little bit deeper water today. In that 8 to 10 foot range. Wow, look at that one. That is a beauty. Little tiny Nico waxworm. That thing is getting the job done. Just had to do a little bit of work to find them today. Bluegill. And throwing everything back today. I don't really feel like bringing fish home to clean. Planning on heading out tomorrow, maybe trying a North Dakota lake for some, well, I haven't decided if I'm going to go to the Smalley Lake or the Largy Lake yet. But I don't really feel like having to clean fish after I get home, in addition to getting my camera gear ready for tomorrow and swapping out all my tackle and still trying to get a few hours of sleep in there. Is it crappie? This feels like a crappie. Yes, it is a crappie. Starting to find a few now that we're kind of into evening time out here. They're such pretty fish, aren't they? Yeah, I still have some of those in my freezer anyway, so we're gonna let them go today. There's another crappie. Come here, you. Nice. Well, I think I figured them out now. They're sitting right in about 8.5 feet. I don't know if you guys can see, but we've got a few scattered weeds down there. 8 to 10 foot is really where those weeds thin out on this lake. That's where these guys are hanging out today. A little bit too cold for them to be up shallow yet. I'll take a couple paddle strokes backwards so I don't float into his buddies if he's got some over there. Hey, there's a nice crappie. Yeah, it hasn't been non-stop action out here today, but definitely finding a few. Doing pretty well actually for how cold the water is. 48.4. I usually don't really hammer the crappie until it gets up to about 50 degrees. But we're finding a few now. Little crappie. That's weird. I've got a few of them that size today. I usually don't catch anything but slabs out here on this lake. He was a little bit too quick for me. What do we have here? I was expecting a little bluegill the way he hit. Oh, it's a pike. Please don't take my jig. Come on up here, you. I want to get this fish in before he bites me off. Oh yeah, I got him hooked in a good spot there. Maybe. I cannot believe that one didn't break me off. That line going right through his teeth like that. Yeah, we'll be retying that one. Not a bad little pike. It's kind of cool. 4 species today. I've got pike, bass, bluegill, and crappie. Pretty good day of fishing. What do we have here? Feels like another crappie. Well, I'm kind of slowly starting to work my way out of this bay, back toward my truck. I do think I'm going to stop there at the point leading in. I'll give that a quick try before I head out of here. So I have had some pretty good success off that point in the past when the water's still a little bit cold. Even when I don't find anything else out here in the shallows, that point will hold some fish sometimes. So we'll give it a quick try before we call it a day. Just get my jig back from that one. Beauty. What do we got here? Oh, it's trying to pull me into the weeds. Come on up here, looks like a bass. Was it a bass? Yep, it's a bass. Looked thicker than a bass for a second there. Well, I think that's going to be the one that we end the day on. That's all right. I have no problem ending the day on a bass. I did give it about 15 minutes off this point here. Didn't find any crappie. So I'm guessing it's just a little bit too cold up here yet for them. Found a decent little largie hanging out over here though. Yeah, we'll end the day on that one. It's been an awesome day out here. It took a couple hours to kind of figure out the fish this afternoon, but once I did, we did pretty well. Got a whole bunch of bluegill, several nice crappie, a few bass, even got a pike. So we had some good multi-species action out here today. And I did end up finding those crappie that I came out here to look for. I tell you guys what, that little tungsten ice fishing jig with that Nico waxworm, that rig is dynamite for spring panfish. When I got out here and I saw that the water temperature was only 48 degrees, I really didn't think that we'd do all that well, but I think we did pretty good out here today. Well, I'm gonna paddle my way over to my truck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I sure did. Thanks for coming along with me again. I'll see you next time.